Welcome to the last in my series of mini masterclasses. Today we are talking about the energy of presence. Business is full of words like visibility and positioning and authority, and we strive towards those. But what does it actually mean? And I think in order to understand what it means, you've got to go a little bit back. You've got to rewind a bit, because business is about relationships. It's about a multitude of relationships. And it's those relationships, the energy that we bring to them and the energy that the other side of that relationship brings to the table that actually defines things. So there are many layers of relationships. First and foremost is your relationship to yourself. If you are going to be in business for yourself, the first thing that will come up and stare you right in the face is your relationship to yourself. Everywhere where there are cracks in that relationship, everywhere there are bits that you don't want to look at, they are going to come up and they are going to make themselves known. That's always the first thing. And it's why when you go into entrepreneurship, there is this you come in with this great idea and you have all of this energy, and all of a sudden everything that you haven't dealt with within yourself and everything that you haven't accepted within yourself comes up to make itself known. So your relationship to yourself is imperative. And if there are things coming up for you that you need to work through, and you think, I can't be doing that because I need to be working on my business, actually you are working on your business by working on your relationship to yourself. So never beat yourself up for taking the time to do that work. Then there's the relationship to your creativity. You can't be in business without being prepared to create. So many people will create what they're told to create or create what they think is needed. What I mean is that you need to be prepared to create from within, from your core, from who you are. So you have to have a solid relationship to your creativity. You need to understand how you create. You need to be able to accept that way of creating and work with it. Then there's the relationship to your business. Your business is a distinct energetic entity, and it is bringing an energy to the table, and it is the conversation, the dialogue, the connection between your energy and the energy of your business that actually creates the dynamic that allows anything to happen. Then there's the relationship to your audience or your stakeholders, depending on how you're set up. And that is imperative because it is about the intention that you bring, the energy that you bring to that relationship, and the way in which you hold that energy for that audience. Because from within your audience comes your relationship to your clients, because people are going to come forward from that larger audience to become your clients. And then you have another relationship there. So you can see that business is all about the relationships. Relationships define everything. Now, the way in which, what defines a relationship is the energy that you bring to it, the energy the other party brings to it. That is what creates the relationship. Now, energy is felt way before anything else. So we think about coming out and being visible in business and being present in business by getting out there and doing lives or writing posts or doing blogs or doing speaking engagements or whatever it is. We think about that, but that isn't what is felt first. Our words are how we look. That's not felt before the energy is felt. The energy is felt first and foremost. And that's what people respond to, because they're responding to the spirit and the intention of the relationship that we're creating. So understanding that energy and understanding how those energies play out is absolutely critical. Now, all of the symbols and the signs of that energy, like your branding, what your logo looks like, what you come across, like how you write, all of those things, they're secondary to the energy, and they either confirm the energy or they confuse it. Now, if you're working with stuff that is not aligned to that energy, isn't reflective of that energy, then absolutely everything will confuse people. Whereas if it's in integrity with it, it will actually confirm to people that they are on the right track with their relationship with you. So awareness of this energy is the first step. It's absolutely key. And we want to be aware of it because then we are present with it. But in business, we want to go further. We want to actually become that energy, because it is the energy that is driving our presence, and it is the energy that is felt. So it defines our relationship, it defines the potential of our business, it defines the direction of our business. So we want to really accept that energy and move with that energy, because that is the energy of presence, and it is way more effective than any Facebook ad or social media post or speaking that you're going to do. It's the energy that is key, and you've got to learn to feel that energy, and you've got to learn to hold that energy. That's the key, is because it's the presence is about holding the energy. It is about accepting it into your field, accepting it into the way that you operate, and actually holding that space for the people who need to move into it. That's what the energy of presence is all about. So, and why do people want to move into it? Because they want change. Business is about creating change. It is about a movement from one situation towards another situation. That is what every business is creating a change. And so people are going to want to move into that because they are going to feel that change. They're going to move towards that, the energy of that change. So we have to hold it. That's part of the presence that we have to hold. This is the change that I am facilitating, catalyzing for you. And that is the change that you're also catalyzing for yourself. Now that change is grounded in your values, your ethos. Now, being clear on your values, explicitly stating your values is imperative. And once you tend to know your values, if you are working from a head-led space, then the next thing you'll do is think, well, what am I going to do with it? But we have to come back to the energy first. We have to let those values, those intentions, create that energetic presence that we can step into, that we can move with, that we can project, because that's the key. It is actually understanding what those values are, what they feel like energetically, holding them and projecting them, because that is what creates the space for people to move into. So it goes without saying that if you are not clear on what your values are, then whatever you're projecting, whatever you are seeking to share, is going to be confused. So the first step is always coming back to getting really clear on your values. And it's why it's the first thing I do with all my clients is like, what are your values? What are you here to create? What is important to you? What are your boundaries around this? What are your lines in the sand that you are not going to cross? And what are the lines in the sand that you absolutely won't go back through? You know, these are really important questions. They're fundamental questions to actually establishing the energy of your presence. So the things that we want to be asking ourselves around that are, what does it feel like? What does that energy speak of? What does it is a very physical response to those values. It's like those values set off a resonance in you. They set off something within you, and it has a particular quality to the way that it feels. Because those values, they are bringing about change. Those values are founded in the principle of bringing about change. So that change itself as well has this cadence, it has this rhythm, it has this tone. And we want to feel that, we want to sense that, so that we can actually really anchor that into everything that we create. Coming back to the need to be able to create, we have to be able to create from a space of being clear in what our values are, what our ethos is, what our transformation is that we are seeking to achieve and seeking to share with everybody. So these are the fundamental areas that we need to explore. And from these comes the energetic signature that we need to step into, the signature that we need to hold, so that we are creating that space that people can step into. So why is this so important? Well, the bottom line is that you are here to create change, and you need to create a platform for that change. And that platform is built energetically first and foremost. It isn't built in a logical way. It is built in a logical way, but it has to be built in a logical way off the energy that you are bringing forward, because it is the energy that speaks to people. It is the energy that gives you the ability to create situations in which that energy can be felt. So it is the foundation of your business design. It is the foundation of your marketing that is giving you the opportunity to create a platform that you can share from. Now, positioning yourself to facilitate that change, to catalyze that change, to be a transformational agent is not the same as visibility. And visibility itself does not mean being splashed across the media. Visibility means being visible to the people who need you. So your platform that you could create is about making yourself visible to the people who need you and working that platform to bring them confidence and trust. And that comes through the energy. That always comes through the energy. You know situations where people can hold that energy. They can hold an energy that exudes confidence and people step into it, but it's not always what they are expecting. So you know that energy itself is the fundamental driver rather than any of the tips and tricks and all the rest of it that you might see. It is the energy that is the driver. So it is about being absolutely true to your energy and critically then creating what that energy is asking for, rather than creating something that actually is at odds with that energy, which is when people step into something, they feel an energy and they step into it, and then but the actual reality of the experience is very different, or something is masking that energy and they step through that door and then they feel the energy and it's very different. We want those two things to be absolutely aligned and in integrity with each other, because that's the key to a solid relationship, but also to creating transformation, because people need to be ready to receive that transformation. They're only ready if the whole experience is energetically consistent. When there's inconsistencies there, then it instantly puts the brakes on people experiencing what they need to experience. So we want that consistency. We want that energy to be present and expressed consistently in every aspect of what we're doing. So it is imperative to find that energy of your presence so that you are able to project it and hold that space and create everything that you create from within that energy, so that it is consistent and it is true, and it is a true expression of you, which is also a key aspect of a conscious business, which again comes back to your values. Because when you are clear on your values, you can feel the energy of them, you can hold that energy, you can share that energy, because you are really clear on them. And your job is to hold that energy and to facilitate the moves and the actions that will bring about, which will give it direction and will give it focus. That's your job, is to actually know what that energy is, accept that energy and hold it so that it is able to do its work. That's really the foundational part of that energy of presence, because as I said, the visibility then that comes from that, the ability to share that energy, is simply creating the platform for people to come to you, for people to step in towards you, to experience the energy that you're holding. So your job is absolutely, before anything else, is to get to know that energy and to be able to accept that energy and to hold that energy. So one of the things that we're very good at doing is overcomplicating our businesses. Generally speaking, when you are working in this way, you will find that it will simplify your focus, so that you have got one or two things that you're really focusing on. You're learning to hold that energy for it, and you are taking that energy out, because your whole business has its energy, but everything that you're doing is going to have its own variation of that as an energetic signature that you also need to become accustomed to. But the energy of your presence holds the whole thing. So you start there, you feel that energy of your presence, simplify your focus so you are not splitting your energy, going off in all sorts of different directions. You are actually really focusing it on what you need to be doing in order to catalyze that transformation that you're here to create. So what we want to look at is I wanted to say something else as well before I did that, and that's streamlining. Streamlining your focus amplifies the energy and how it's felt. So it's actually magnifying your ability to actually reach people by streamlining. Now that's obviously when we're in business and we're thinking, I've got to do this and I've got to have all these bits and pieces in place and I really need to be doing that and I've got to be doing that, because there's so much going on in our heads that actually we are just splitting the energy and diminishing its impact. So whereas actually giving yourself permission to really streamline it and focus deeply on one or two things, maybe three or four, but really streamlining it will actually amplify the energy. So how do you go about establishing the energy of your presence? So I've got three questions for you to, or three areas for you to explore. The first one is really about getting clear on your values and your purpose. Now, if your purpose is something that you will move towards all the time, it is constantly evolving because we're getting new bits to it. But your values, your underpinning values, they are going to be consistent. So start with your values and then bring in as much as you know about your purpose. And then using that, really lean into what are you here to create. This is something that I do with my clients. It's like we have to look at, the life journey and to get to pull together and to weave together all the threads so we can find out, and then we combine that with the values and the style and the personality so that we are actually getting that really big picture of all the things that are contributing towards your ability to create change through your business. So it's really lean into, what it is that you are here to create, but using your values as that founding principle for it. So that's the first area. What are the values that you hold, and how do they show up for you? And when you are looking at that, then you want to be looking at the next area is what does that feel like energetically? Now, there's no two ways about it. You can feel that energetically, but you have to consciously bring your attention to feeling it energetically rather than thinking, oh yeah, well, that makes logical sense. Oh yeah, I've got it all down here and that's great. And yes, that makes a lot of sense, but you don't actually have the feel of that energy. You're not quite sure what it is, what it is saying. And that's where the confusion can continue to reign. So we want the second area is to really look at what that feels like. So what are its qualities? What's its cadence? What its tone? How does it feel just in your body? What sort of feelings does it elicit? And also, just let it share how it wants to communicate with you. So the next area for you to think about is how you can hold that energy. Now, sometimes, more often than not actually, that energy is really big. So we actually have to expand our own capacity to hold it. So that might be something that you need to work on. It might show you that you need to really work on some key areas within yourself in order to be able to hold that energy. But once you can get the sense of how you can hold it, then you're looking at what actions and activities and tasks is actually going to really be resonant of that energy. What sort of style, what sort of types of activities are really wanting to come through that energy. So that's the next thing. Because when we're clear about what sort of activities we want to bring forward, then that really does tell us a lot about the sort of energy of presence that we want to bring forward. Because in thinking very practically in terms of the sort of services you might offer, the energy of a retreat is very different to the energy of an online course. And yet the energy may want to come through in multiple ways, but the energy of the presence that is required for that is very different. And that's what you want. You want it communicating with you about that. And then the next area for you to think about is where will that energy be felt the most clearly? So it can really help you think about, well, what platforms do I need to be on? Or what energy do I need to bring into different platforms? So that's what you want to be thinking about. Where will it be felt best on? And a lot of the time, and that's with most of my clients recently, that has been actually has been in person, face to face. It is about going to networking. It has been going to in person workshops. It's been doing that sort of that's what the quality of that energy is needed. So really allow yourself to think beyond the online space. If you are focusing on the online space at the moment, allow yourself to get beyond that. I know that for me, that's that's definitely feeling like that there's a need now to do in person and face-to-face stuff. So those are the 4 areas that you need to really think about. You know, what are your values? What does the energy feel like? How can you hold it? And where will it be felt most clearly? That is your starting point for beginning to build the energy of your presence. And from your energy of presence, you then take that forward and you can create some very practical actions around it. Say, this is what I'm going to be doing and this is where I'm going to be. But it is fundamentally, it is about claiming the energy in which you will step forward and become known. So if you can't hold that consistently, it's going to be problematic for you to maintain your presence. But if you learn to hold that energy and step forward in that energy and create from within that energy, then you will absolutely begin to create that magnetic presence that is going to sustain your business moving forward. So this is how you come into presence with your business, and it's how you come into presence with your audience. And it is holding the energy and creating with that energy, and it is being intentional and focused and true to yourself. And this is beyond important moving forward, that we are all learning to become true to ourselves, remembering our power, working from within our power, and being within our own frame of reference, learning to seek that inner guidance, learning to seek that inner authority, and moving from that space. It is absolutely imperative that we move into that now, that you give yourself permission to move into that now. You give yourself permission to become the energy of your presence, because this is what you were here to do, and do it you will. So this is the last in my series of mini masterclasses. I've done one every month for the whole of 2019. They are all available on my YouTube channel to watch through. So please do go back through. They all complement each other, but you can watch them in any order. And if you have any questions about business energetics, you want to speak to me about how that could work for you, then please do get in touch and I'll be delighted to have an informal chat with you about how that could work. Thank you very much.